What is going on, everybody? It is time for lunch. It is lunchtime with the Clydesdale. What is going on? Gonna throw a dart. Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm so close. Some days I'm just so stinking close. Here, I got to take a picture of this. I don't know if you can see that. The glare's pretty bad, but the shadow, you can kind of see it right there on the bull. I'm just south of the bullseye. Just south. Dang it. One of these days. One of these days. Good to see everybody. Man, everybody's packed in here. We have a new member, George Wang. George Wang, thank you so much for joining the Clydesdale crew. We appreciate that so much. Helps us run the show. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. We've got Trent Olive, and I know I got a DM from you. I had some thoughts. I can't remember exactly what it was about, but it's been a rough morning. I have some thoughts back to you. I know that. So I'll get to that sometime today. We have Corey, we have Lido, we have Meredith, Kenneth, Jody, Lynn, Denise, Jose. I need to talk to you too, Jose. Excited to see you, buddy. Jay Birch, Aaron Frazier, CrossFit, Christian. What is going on? All right. Excited to see everybody. You guys are killing it. Man, Holly's killing it this week with some stats. We have some stuff for you for Sunday night. She has kind of figured out, I think, the payouts for the Masters CrossFit Games, based on like percentages and numbers of people registered for the Open, and if they keep the same format as last year, what that'll be. So we'll try to do that on Sunday night and show you all of that stuff. Jenny, thank you so much. We got another new member, Dense Updates. Yeah, that font I picked today is dreadful. I said it first. A nerd alert. Yes, Holly she is the best stats and information person in the business. She works for us behind the shadows, but she is way, way valuable. She puts together numbers for us all the time, and I don't know how we would do it without her. Aaron, that would be a novel concept. Why don't the Masters just release that? That would be nice. That would be nice if they actually knew before registering what they could and could not win. Would be kind of nice. Barclay triggered. Yeah, well, he doesn't do it for me. She does it for me. She does it for Jamie and Carolyn, and she's really good for all that. So I am partial to her. Is there a schedule for Masters and Teens? I'm trying to figure out what days to get tickets for. I know that it's Thursday through Sunday, but I don't know like how many events each day. I'm supposed to be getting some information on that because I did get approval to do a behind the scenes of the Masters Games again this year. They're supposed to be sending me floor layouts and a schedule, so I should know more in the coming days. Ken Walters looking forward to Sunday night, and Carolyn's response to getting an F from Batman. I think it's justified. I think she'll agree with it, honestly. She has said on the show several times that she is a school teacher and she does not want to show midriffs and booty short stuff, and because she goes in front of several kids every day, and she purposefully wears clothes that don't show off things. So I think she'll be fine with it. It's just the podium winners that get prize money in the Masters, isn't it? That is correct. That's the way it's been, Lito. Yeah. Wow, there's a lot going in. Thank you so much, Jenny. Let's all support the media we all consistently watch. $2.99 a month is one FitAid. It's less than a roll of thumb tape. Thank you. I say the same. That's why I have joined other channels, because I would pay to go to a movie. I would pay to rent a movie. Why shouldn't I pay to watch the content I see every single day? Beard is coming back. You know what that means. I don't know. Cranky Scott's been around, both beard and beardless, so we'll see. As you guys know, I'm great friends with Hattie Kanyo. We're going to do some behind the scenes at the CrossFit Games with her. I did get denied enhanced access, so it's going to be more like away from the arena behind the scenes than necessarily at the scenes at the games. But I did see this on the CrossFit Games site today. I wanted to share that real quick. And that is that they did a feature on her on the CrossFit.com page. If you go to media, there's a feature on Hattie Kanyo. What a badass pick. Fire behind her in her whole fire outfit from when she was a firefighter. And really cool article about the struggle she went through to get back up to where she is today as a phenomenal athlete. So go check that out on the CrossFit.com. I honestly didn't know CrossFit was still doing articles. I haven't seen much promoted. And so I actually went to their site, and it appears they are actually doing articles still, which is blowing my mind. As you can see here, there's the Hattie Kanyo article. There's slow fix, the isometric holds and super slow reps heal stubborn joint pain. Road to the games, they advertise that. The course photos, of course. But yeah, they actually are still writing articles for CrossFit.com, which I had no clue. No clue. But yeah, surprised. Shanna, super sticker, $1.99. Thank you so much for supporting the show. You're the best. I really, really appreciate that. People talking about FitAid. I used to be so addicted to FitAid. When I was a volunteer, it was unlimited for the volunteers, just coolers everywhere of it. I probably drank more cans than I should have in a day. And really love. I love the original, and I love the first black can with the gold writing. It's kind of like a purpley grape taste. Understand their articles would get more reads if they put them on the main landing page. I don't disagree, and they have not promoted them at all. At all. So this feels like a throwback, but I hate the website. The old one needed a refresh, not a rebuild. Yeah, I don't love the navigation of their website, but there's a lot of fish to fry, and I'm not sure where that even plays a factor. Man, Terry, new member. Thank you so much, Terry. Vicky, new member. Thank you so much. We appreciate that very, very much. It really does go a long way to support just having the apps to run the show every day. Denise Moore, what does purple taste like? To call it grape would be disingenuous. I don't think it's fully grape. I think there's some other berry flavor in there, so that's why I said it tastes purple. The CrossFit Games website is kind of like Netflix where you have to dig for info. I hate the Netflix navigation. If they don't suggest it, like how do you find stuff? There is a search, yeah. But man, I don't know. I actually kind of like the HBO Max search or app the best because you can actually break it down by like genre, type, and find things pretty fast. Black and gold was FitAid RX, I believe. That is correct. Train to Live. How do I become a member? There usually, I know it depends on what you're on, what device. If you are on a laptop, for sure, there's a join button at the bottom of the screen, usually right below the person that's talking, and then you just hit that join button. So, and I just updated all the badges, so they'll change depending on how long you are a member. Last night, I noticed I hadn't kind of updated that very much. So, yeah, wow. We're 10 minutes in. I haven't even really hit anything I had on my agenda. I'm moving the depleted female field to tomorrow because I want to give it a little more time, and I had some other things I wanted to talk about. Savon says like and subscribe. We like that too. Kenneth, I got a sweet new badge. Yep, I updated all the badges last night. So you should see those in your profile. So cool. The first thing I want to talk about is sneaky big news. If people did not see this, it was announced yesterday by CrossFit, and it is that the Heat One app and the CrossFit Games have formed a partnership. This is massive for the sport. And I say sport because if you can play fantasy sports and you can bet on a sport, it becomes a sport. Why I think this is huge is whenever you have that ability to play along by playing a fantasy sport, or if eventually they can get to the point where you can actually bet on what the action that's going on, it increases the viewership of whatever you can bet on. I know CrossFit, it's not betting yet. It's a step. It's a step. This is fantasy sports. If you have not played on the Heat One app, it is the coolest thing right now. That is the only place that I know of that you can go play fantasy sports with CrossFit. And to be partnering with the games is a huge step for them. They partnered with Wodapalooza a couple years ago, and the announcers were using the percentages of who people picked as part of the broadcast, which was really, really cool. And so what I love about this, you have two options. They have a top 10 pick where you just go and you have the female field and you have the men's field, and you pick the top 10 of who you think is going to finish in that order. Or they have what they call shot caller, which you go event by event, and you get to pick one male, one female, and one flex pick for every event at the CrossFit Games. And you get points based on how close they came to winning. So the further away from first, the worse your points are going to be for that individual. And sometimes they put a cap on like how many times you can pick somebody. Sometimes they don't. I hope for the games, there's a cap on it so people don't just pick Tia. See me rolling. Scott, can you do a show with showing us how to use it? I do math for a living and I still don't get it. Yeah, I can do that. I would think Tyler Watkins would be able to do a better job than I do, but I can show you from my perspective how to do it. Because I know Carolyn and Jamie and I all play every single event. But it's pretty simple. Once you do it once or twice, it becomes pretty simple. Correct me if I'm wrong, but were they in partnership last year too, or am I imagining things? Obviously, with everything that happened, not many people played. I don't believe they were in partnership last year. I think the only time they've had the major partnership was with Wadapalooza. And maybe it was Lazar's death that maybe they did and it just didn't play out. But I don't know. I really don't believe they did. I think this is the first year. But if I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will correct me. I think you can't call it betting until the results are secure, reliable, and end-to-end encrypted. Yeah, I agree. We're not too betting yet. That is not the case. But the fact that you can go head to head with your friends and think and as to who is the better picker, and you can always do side bets. You don't have to do it through the app. You and your friend can have those unofficial bets on the side as to who's going to win. See me roll in. Phew, I feel better knowing you don't get it because I couldn't figure it out either. Yeah, it's not. It's once you do it once, it's pretty easy. Sarah Cooper's philosophy is just pick randomly and hope for the best. I always forget at least one day and then get smoked with that. Yeah, me too. Because I'm usually at the event running from thing to thing. And sometimes like the internet is not great inside the arena. And then, man, I know at Syndicate one year, like I was picking my picks walking into the arena and they didn't take because I waited too long. But yeah, if you're sitting at home, it's a lot easier. If you're right, someone will also correct you. This is just how the internet works. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, you've got that right. So, but yeah, super big news. I think this is as big news as who's going to be at the games, because the more and more that people can participate in the action and show that they know more than John Young, or that they know more than Savon, or that they know more than me, the more that people are going to play these kinds of games. And most of the time, those people all play these. So you can see them on the leaderboard. You can see if you picked better than they did, which makes it a lot of fun. But if you look at every major, at least American sport, I don't know how it works in Europe, but I think it's big there too. If you can bet or play fantasy on it, and you look at the correlation of viewership, there's a steep incline in viewership when you can play the games with the sport. Barry McCockiner, how do we think the partnership started? Wonder if Jenna reached out to Tyler. Yeah, I have no idea how it started. I know Tyler's been working on things like this and did the proof of concept with Wadapalooza. And once you have the proof of concept, it's a lot easier to show people what you can do. Judy Reed, Scott, let's meet for a workout and you can give me a Heat 1 tutorial. Okay, Judy. So that's pretty big. The next thing I want to talk about is, if you don't know, I have an MBA. A lot of times when Greg is on with Savon, he kind of dogs people with an MBA. And so I just wanted to point out that I don't always disagree with that statement. But I'm old. And I went back and got my MBA at a much older age, and I did it in person. I did not do it online. And the thing that made my MBA cool was that all of the people in my class, we did it as a cohort. We went from beginning to end as a complete group. And in that cohort, we would have class discussions. And our professors actually, they didn't lecture to us. It was more of a, hey, this scenario, how would you act in this case? How would you handle this? And it became more like case studies and discussions than a lecture series. And if you've done your MBA that way, I think it's extremely valuable and useful in the real world. Because it's not taking what somebody is just telling you and regurgitating it. It is taking something and actually having some creative and intelligent discussion over how the thing can be handled, how you can learn from lessons that other people have done. But I think that what's happened is the whole country has cheapened the MBA by having 5 million options for it, all online. You can do it super quick without talking to anybody. I think if you're doing it without a discussion, then you're not doing it in a way that benefits you to have the MBA. Initially, it was designed to have a further depth of thought by moving up a level and then discussing your own experiences with other people, not just sitting there having a professor tell you what you should think and how you should think. And so, that's, I just wanted to say that, and to say that the crazy thing about doing this show is I never have a script. I may have like just an outline of what I'm going to talk about, but it has no notes to it at all. And I can even show you, like, there's nothing to my notes. Like, it's just, this is a list of things that we may talk about. Right. And so when I go off on like my monologues or whatever, when I go off on my monologues, it's all from just the heart and what I'm feeling in that moment. Sorry. And so the other day I talked about WFP forming out of a tragedy. And really what I wanted to say is that if you're building a business, you should be building your business based on your strength, what you can bring to the table, not on the misfortune or a tragedy of another company in the space. And what WFP, and I believe what Metfix is doing, is trying to build a company on the misfortunes and the tragedy of another company, and not based on their own rock solid, built strong beliefs. And because of that, they're struggling to gain traction at this point. Because they didn't build themselves up to be strong first before they jumped into this mix with everybody else. And I think even the bigger example to this is the PFAA. I've said repeatedly on the show that I think that the athlete should have representation, to be able to have a voice. However, they did not start on their own strength. If we go back prior to the games last year, all they talked about was heights of bars, heights of rings, and they didn't really talk about safety. Then a tragedy happens, and all of a sudden, well, we're here for the safety. We're here for the safety. But they didn't build it strong enough. They didn't build their own strength up before they were trying to be opportunistic and take advantage of this tragedy. And because they didn't build their own strength first, they're failing to get any kind of traction moving forward. And that is why everybody is failing around the space. I've said over and over again that I think that what the WFP created as a season structure is sound and makes sense, but they didn't build themselves to be strong before they jumped into this mix to take on CrossFit. And because of that, I believe they are doomed to fail. Initially, I wanted to see if they could make this work so we could see if the structure could work. But at this point, I don't think they have a strong enough base to give us a true idea if they can be successful or not. Just like the PFAA does not have a strong base to show us that they actually represent all of the athletes, that they actually are about safety. They have not done anything in the safety realm to have a proof of concept to take on CrossFit. If you look at CrossFit Safety Council, the members of that board have such a resume in the world of safety that if CrossFit uses them correctly, and they've sent out letters about safety already, and and what can impact heat, what can impact the run and row event. They're starting to do things in that direction. I have yet to see anything from the PFAA about the same things. And because I said I was going into that live the other day, I just wanted to kind of clear it up more, as that there's all these, for lack of a better term, vultures or piranhas in the water or in the air circling CrossFit because of a tragedy that occurred. And they didn't have their own foundation built first to take on that battle or to take on that war. And now they're losing traction at this moment. So I don't know. It just irked me today when I saw Jenny post Brian Friend's quote saying that he didn't know if he could be involved if Dave continued to run CrossFit, the sport. And I still am confused by that statement. I don't see where it was all Dave. And that monologue was a couple days ago. If you want to go hear that, you can hear that. But it just keeps surprising me. I'm sorry I missed a lot of your comments. And where is the PFAA now? Demanding to review this year's safety, sending out emails with helpful tips. Exactly what I'm saying, Sarah. Thank you so much for pounding that home for me. Patrick Clark, but it took a disaster for that to happen as well for CrossFit. I'm not going to disagree with you, but they did take action. They did make changes, and they deserve to have credit for that. And there's a whole group of people that are not willing to ever give them credit for that again. Instead, they're putting their eggs in a basket that is teetering on sand that may or may not, that most likely will not succeed at this point. Vicky says, you said it best. Dave either chose or was chosen to take the hit. Seems like he's always played the villain to save everyone else from being attacked. Jenny, like Nick Johnston says, they have agendas. Doug Reed, Scott, hasn't CrossFit always made changes as they've learned? Maybe not to the degree that some wanted to, but they do have a history of improvement. Yeah, you can look at as far back as when Rich fell off the rope. Look at what caught him At the bottom, nothing. Look what's at the bottom of a rope now. It's simple as that. They've made changes to things. I've said over and over again that when I was a volunteer, I've seen Dave move up and change an event seconds before it was to go live because they saw something that might be dangerous. Go watch other competitions and then watch the CrossFit Games and tell me which place is safer. Corey Leonard, the floor stopped his fall. Yeah. For Rich, the floor stopped his fall. Now there's these big mats that are like, what, 2 feet thick? Herd Athletics, what kind of hat is that? This is a Chicago Bears hat. It's the classic B logo from back in the 50s and 60s. Dave's role feels very Vince McMahon, Gary Bettman, Roger Goodell. Yeah. Those people are hired to take the hit so that the owners don't have to. And in Vince McMahon's case, he just likes to be the bad guy. Corey says, actually the floor and the Home Depot bucket. Yeah. Vicky, my husband wants to know what those medals are behind you. It was when I had a phase in my weight loss journey that I ran a bunch of 5Ks, 5 milers, quarter marathons. And that's just a collection of medals I got from that. Patrick Clark, my swimming medals are old and crusty and in a box somewhere, maybe even gone. I don't know. So anyway, those are my thoughts there. The last thing I wanted to bring up today is just a thought I had after watching the All-Star game the other night. And shout out O'Neal Cruz, the 513-foot home run from my Pittsburgh Pirates. Love that. And my Paul Skeens pitching a perfect inning in the first inning of the All-Star game from my Pirates as well. Great there. But anyway, CK Kevin, yes, there was an All-Star game. I don't care if you like baseball or whatever. This is a different point. The All-Star game ended in a tie. And in years past, they either went way into the night in extra innings and then used up a lot of players and teams got mad because their players came back tired and beat up. And then they went to, if it's a tie, it's just going to end in a tie. It's an All-Star game. It doesn't mean anything. We're going to end in a tie. They've changed it to do this thing called the swing off, or as Pat McAfee called it, the dong off. And what it was is you had to designate 3 players that if it ended in a tie would go out, get 3 swings and then they either were an out or a home run. The team that had the most home runs at the end of the dong off would then win the All-Star game. And it was electric. If you did not see it, Kyle Schwarber came out, 3 swings, 3 home runs. Freaking phenomenal. If you think back to CrossFit and the sandbag ladder and the clean ladder. So the clean ladder, I believe, was 17, the year Frazier won the clean ladder and Tia. They had a dong off that was, if you tied at the weight, you then had to do quick, like 5 clean and jerks or 5 cleans, and then sprint to the finish. That added so much excitement. It was kind of off to the side. I think if CrossFit were to expand that with something exciting, they would do it where like it was in the center as well. And they did it on the sandbag clean, where if there was a tie, there was 3 weights of sandbags you had to throw over a yoke and then sprint to the finish line. I think because those clean ladders are so long and they go so late into the night usually, if you had the dong off where you went over and did the tiebreaker like that, it would add so much excitement to what CrossFit has to offer. Anywhere you can add these little tidbits of excitement to the event that day, you should take advantage of. Again, Andrew, I know it's become meh. I'm not debating that. I'm just using the one thing that was cool about the All-Star game and trying to apply it to how CrossFit can make their competitions more exciting. And if we have tiebreakers like that were featured after the event with these quick sprints and people trying to get across the line. If you remember Noah Olson and Saxon Panchek diving to the finish line in the clean ladder tiebreaker, they were fighting for every stinking point. And in that tiebreaker, it meant something. I think in areas where you can get those big clumps of individuals, like in those ladders or another sprint, we should do tiebreakers and feature them more prominently on the floor so everybody can watch it. Jenny says, I like the tiebreakers like that. I'd love them. That clean ladder tiebreaker was so much fun to watch. Judy Reed, the long duck dong. We can name it that. That'd be awesome. Dong off was the old home run derby format. It was modified to be even simpler than the old home run derby. I think home run derby, you had like 10 outs is the original home run derby. This one, it was 3 swings, whether it was an out or not. So it was limited to just 3 swings, which made it not long, super quick, super fast. Corey Leonard, sandbag clean tiebreaker with them tossing sandbags was good too. Totally agree. And at the end, I think we had a 5-person tiebreaker the year that, and then even at the tiebreaker, Guy and Nick Matthew tied on that. So, CrossFit hard part with ladders and the tiebreakers is athletes end up with varied volume over the weekend of work, but I love the optics. And Lido makes a great point. Yes, but they're generally 30 seconds or less, so not really a big issue. Yeah, all the ones that they've used so far have been less than 30 seconds. That's just awful, Joseph Ramirez. Keep doing double unders until someone fails to break ties. Whew. And Jenny's right. Yeah, the sandbag one where they had 3 different sandbag weights. They had to strategize which bag they were going to go to first, which one they were saving for last. And Jenny has seen a max effort double under tiebreak. We had one at a competition here locally that they went hundreds. And it probably lasted longer than anybody wanted it to. So I have a little PTSD on that one. But I just thought, what a fun way to like add excitement to an event without a lot of time, without a lot of effort. And the crowd was going nuts, man. I was in the arena for both of those, and the place just went ballistic for every tiebreaker. And it was really hard because some of the finishes were so close, you didn't know who won until they went to the chip timer. Super, super crazy. Corey says, I think I have maybe 150 unbroken dubs in me. Maybe. That would be so gross. Jody Lynn, did I get any more info on my media seats? I just know I have a seat. I probably won't know what the seat is until I get to the arena. But I just know I didn't get enhanced access. So it just changes my plan a little bit, but I'll come up with a cool way to get around that. So yeah, this is what happened at ours. Like, I think people went 300-400 before someone broke in the tiebreaker that I saw. And I think Jeremy's sending Corey a love letter here. So, okay. Well, that's just what I think that would be a way to really add a lot to what's going on and add some excitement to the games. With that, guys, I have an appointment later today. So, huge shout out to George Wang, Jenny, Terry, and Vicky. Thank you so much for all becoming members. I really, really appreciate it. It means so much to me. And Shanna, thanks for the donation with the super sticker. All this is awesome. You guys are the best. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love hanging out with you each and every day. We'll be back tomorrow for another episode of Lunch with the Clydesdale. But until then, I got to get back to work. So you knuckleheads, you get to back to work too. See you soon.